Hey, buddy, if you could kind of take us through the decision on Sean McGee, what were you seeing from their stuff that led you to believe maybe not here, could be somewhere else, but not here for those 2 days?
Well, we thought it was a combination of a few things. I think where those guys were this spring and where they were, the last 10 days looked similar to what we've seen the last couple of years. They're both healthy. They were both competing. Their stuff was similar to what we've seen. And we just felt as though the direction of our pitching staff for this season and moving forward would be such where, some names that are going to be on our roster are going to be names that you're going to look for next year. And we felt as though the names this year, give us the best chance over 60 games that who will end up being on our roster.
Thanks,
Right.
bud.
Go ahead. Nick Broke.
Yeah, buddy. Happy haircut, by the way. But you mentioned
Great
that-
observation.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
You mentioned this a little bit the other day that with a short camp for preparation and then also a packed schedule, that you're really going to have to juggle who's available on any given day in the bullpen. Having managed now for a while at Coors Field, where you have to do that pretty regularly, just the way the games work.
Right.
Do you feel like with who you have, especially after, and you mentioned Diaz and Estevez the other day, but who you have, especially at the back end, that you have a good sense of how to handle this unusual season and the circumstances as far as how to handle a bullpen late in games?
Well, I think we're once we get underway and hopefully these next handful of games, both inter-squad games and the games down in Texas, will give us a clear indication of how guys are truly feeling and how they're really throwing, and what we can depend on through the first week of the season as far as frequency, number of pitches, quality of pitches, all those things. I mean, we'll evaluate those. But as far as handling the bullpen, so much is determined on what the starter does, right? If the starter goes short, we have a lot of innings to cover. That's where it gets a little tricky here early for probably the majority of teams, because starters aren't going to be stretched out to throw 110, 120 pitches and take the game into the 6th or 7th or 8th innings. So the handling of the bullpen and moving guys in and out of there, it's going to become imperative every night to have fresh arms, what you see as good matchups on a given night. But with that, with the expanded rosters, to be able to have 14, 15, 16 pitchers, we'll figure that out. It does give you some flexibility. But we feel good about the options moving forward and the guys that we have to come into ball games.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, Tracy Ringlesby, go ahead.
Buddy, Jeff talked about the fact that you guys had talked with Bard, Owens, and Kemp earlier today and had to finalize the fact that they will be with you. Can you just talk in general about what you saw from the three of them?
Yeah, those were good conversations with those guys. Those are uplifting. You could see that those guys were excited to be Rockies. But I think on balance, we saw CO in spring training 1. We saw Bard in spring training 1. And I thought they both showed very well until the shutdown. And they continued that here in Denver. I thought their readiness here in camp was on point. They were ready physically and mentally, and they showed that here through, up till today. With Kemp, we acquired him after his release from the Marlins, and he looks good too. He's moving well. The bat speed's there. He just needs repetitions. Last year was an off year for Matt as far as reps, number of games played, at bats, all those things. So, a little bit of a different story, being shut down. I think he got 30 at-bats in Miami, shut down, now trying to ramp it back up. It's not easy. But, he's taking a lot of swings in the cage. We're getting him a lot of competitive at-bats out in these inter-squad games. But, the bat's moving well. I still think, and we think, collectively through our meetings, that he can be a presence, especially against left-handed pitching. So, he's ready for this. He's happy to be a Rocky, like all three of them are. They're ready to go. And there's 3 big smiles in my office after they were told.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Kyle Frederickson, go ahead.
Hey, buddy, with the roster moves today, who are some of the young arms on this roster who you figure will stand to gain the most and maybe have a really big opportunity ahead of them now?
Well, I think Nick mentioned earlier, Carlos Esteves had a good year last year. He can maybe play a real prominent role. Jairo Diaz, real prominent role. Scott Oberg, hopefully he can make some strides here this week to recover from a little bit of a low back situation, that he can again be a major contributor. Yense Almonte, had some moments last year of really good pitching. James Pezos, left-handed pitcher, has a chance to be impactful if he can. A small sample size, he can redo what he did last September. The 2 relievers that might be in the bullpen to start the year, Hoffman and Gonzalez, they should be contributors. Daniel Bard, he's going to get an opportunity to pitch, again after a lengthy layoff, and it's going to be a great story when he comes back and pitches well. We're optimistic about that. Philip Deal, he's in the mix. Tim Collins is in the mix. A couple of young pitchers, Castellani and Santos, have shown well here. We'll see how this all shakes out, or even as the season moves forward, if they can be contributors too.
All right, Thomas Harding, go ahead.
Okay, just a couple of things on that. First, I wanted to, where does Tyler Kinley fit in that mix?
Oh, I missed Kinley. Yeah, throw him in there too. I'm sorry. Sorry, Kyle Frederickson. Tyler Kinley, he's in the mix too.
Okay, as far as in the outfield, you've got Charlie. Is he going to be at a point where he can play in some intra-squad games and see where he fits in? And what about David health-wise right now, David Dahl?
Thomas, are you coming tonight?
I am here. I am high above your field right now.
6'10", you'll see them both playing.
So you see them as possibly being able to go 9 innings. You don't have to worry about that by next Friday. You feel there's plenty of
Tom,
time.
that's 9 innings and starting. We'll see, but I feel good about them being ready for the season on the roster. I do feel good about that.
Last one for me on that is that how much do you see Kemp running around in the outfield at this stage? As you said, he didn't have a lot of at-bats in spring, didn't play a lot last year, but do you see him running around out there somehow?
Potentially, sure. Yeah. He's getting his work out there with the other outfielders. Potentially, sure. Players love to play the field. So does Matt.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, Andy Yamashita, go ahead.
Hi, Andy Yamashita. I'm with the Denver Post. Going back to Dahl specifically, what are the plans to kind of work him back into game shape?
He's going to play tonight. He's going to take the field. He's going to hit leadoff for one of the teams, Andy. He will play the outfield a number of innings. Hopefully we can get him 4 or 5 at-bats, depending on how he's feeling. But that progression will start tonight.
Awesome. And just kind of to follow up on that, how much are injuries a concern with him just because he's had a history within the past, or is that just something we're not worried about it right now?
Hopefully as time goes on, David can grow out of those. It's been a little bit of a rocky road for him early in his career. hopefully that things can stabilize and, as he gets older and I think continues to mature physically and gets, what we refer to in the scouting world as man strength. Hopefully that these little nagging injuries can go away. I mean, that's our hope. I've seen it from other players, over the years. You look back and there's some great Hall of Famers who were banged up a little earlier in their career and then, found that groove of playing regularly and having the durability to play and have a long career. Hopefully David falls into that boat as far as, his durability.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, give a couple more seconds if anyone else has any more questions to get a hand up. Thomas, go ahead.
Sorry, just had one more. So how long do you feel Charlie will play tonight? Will he play the field? Will he be DH? What will you do with him?
Thomas, he's going to play 3 or 4 innings in the field and hopefully get 4 or 5 at-bats.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Nick Grote, go ahead.
Yeah, buddy. Similarly, with Matt Kemp, Trent, still ramping back up a little bit. Is he a possibility really early in the season in right field, or would you prefer to have him as DH? And does Charlie force your hand a little bit with that?
He's a possibility in right field. But we have some outfielders that we feel are very capable, right, to man all 3 outfield positions. If there's a situation during the course of this season where, Matt needs to play right field, I'm comfortable with him playing. That's his best position. That's where he feels most comfortable. He can also go out to left field. But, with Hilliard, with Tapia, with Dahl, with Charlie, with Hampson, with Owings, we feel as though we got some coverage. And with Kemp, we have, great versatility there with that group.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, that's all for today. Thank you, buddy. And
Okay, guys.
thanks, everyone else. Catch you later.
Thank you.